Hi everybody, and welcome back to Plastic Models by Regular Dude and my next build, the Hasegawa 148 scale F6F-3 Hellcat. Welcome to part 1. So first let's talk about the kit. The kit is, as I said, the Hasegawa F6F-3 Hellcat USS Essex version. Kit number JT34. Now, in looking at the box, it has a copyright date of 2008. Now, I'm not sure if that's when the kit came out or if that's just this particular boxing. I can look on ScaleMates to figure that out, but hopefully there'll be a copyright stamp on the one of the sprues itself. So before I go any further, I would like to thank Eric Davenport for sending this kit along with a few others to me. I really appreciate it, and it's really going to be a fun kit from what it looks like, and I can't wait to get started. So thanks a lot, Eric. I really appreciate it. So first I want to talk about what my plan is for this kit. Now, originally I had intended to just build it right from the box. Kit decals, the whole thing. However, after I did a little bit of looking around and looking at other people's builds of this kit or similar kits, I decided to do a Fleet Air Arm Hellcat Mark I British fighter. The markings and the paint job is really unique looking and interesting, and I thought I'd like to do something like that since I haven't done much in the way of British aircraft. So with that out of the way, my actual plan for this kit, this build series on YouTube, is to do an actual full build including paint, step-by-step deal, mainly at the request of some of my viewers. I normally do full builds and talk a little bit about the paint, but a few people have said they'd like to see a beginning to end build, paint, step-by-step, everything. So that's what I'm going to do with this kit. It may take a little bit longer than normal, but that is the plan. In addition to that, I'm also going to do a build log on Kitmaker Network Aeroscale forum, and the reason I'm going to do that is again by request, and I'll get into that in a few minutes. So first, let me talk a little bit about the products I'm going to be using for this particular build. For the most part, it'll be the usual stuff. Tamiya extra thin cements. I will probably incorporate, if need be, I will be incorporating my Model Master liquid cement, which is a little bit thicker, and I use it for different jobs when gluing kits together. I will also probably be using the Model Master clear part cement to do the windscreen and canopy. If I need to use any super glue, I will be using one of these two or maybe both. Extreme Power Thin and or Ammo by Mig Jimenez. That's debonder, that's not what I want. Black slow dry. I'll use my usual array of brushes. I will be incorporating for detail painting my usual, which is Vallejo Model Air and Vallejo Model Colors for any brush painting. The one thing I am going to be doing different on this kit is I'm going to be trying a new brand of paint. Normally I use Tamiya for all my spray work, and I've even dabbled a little bit in the Ammo by Mig acrylics, but I've been wanting to try the Mr. Hobby brand aqueous line, but it is extremely, well, up till recently it's been extremely hard to find in the States. So in just looking around on a whim, I found two places that actually carry it, and it looks like it's going to be a thing now. So I've really been wanting to try it. Never used it before, so there'll be a little bit of experimentation going on, but I'll talk about that as I build. And I also have their hobby color thinner, which is for acrylics. And one of the main reasons I'm going with leaning more towards acrylics and getting away from the more harsh smelling paints is because I have a lot of grandchildren running around the house a lot these days, and I share this hobby room with my wife. She has her office space in here as well, and I just want to keep the toxic fumes down to a minimum. For the decals, I'll be using Microset and Microsol like I usually do, and if I run across any especially stubborn decals, I will use my Walters Solvaset. Really good stuff. For my airbrushes, I will be using the usual. I'll be using the Iwata Revolution SAR for my primer coat. I will be using the Iwata HP M2 for the lower color for sure, possibly the upper colors, but since it's going to be a camouflage pattern, I may rely mostly on this one here, my Neo for Iwata TRN1 trigger type airbrush. It just gives me a little bit better control when painting camouflage colors. So those are the airbrushes I'll be using. If I decide to go with some clear coats, I'll be using my Spar Max weird looking airbrush. I like the way it sprays the clears. So with all that out of the way, let's take a look at the contents of the box, starting with the instructions. So here's the instructions. Big old full sheet fold out kind of thing. Not a lot of steps. Actual build steps, 10. Step 1, cockpit, not too busy, you know, typical cockpit kind of thing. Going into the fuselage assembly with the cockpit included, and then the engine, wings, attaching the wings, cowling, and horizontal stabilizers, landing gear, tank, landing gear doors, drop tank, and then the final parts, the machine guns, propeller, and canopy stuff. Looks pretty good. Now, one nice thing, and this is one of the reasons that I wanted to try the aqueous paint. Now, obviously, it doesn't work in this case, but there's quite a few manufacturers that do the Mr. Color and Mr. Hobby paints, as is evidenced here. And I really like that because I don't like having to look online to match up colors unless I really have to. So it's just kind of nice that I can just go off the colors. Now, obviously, again, in this case, I'm doing the primary colors of the aircraft are different, but the other ones are, you know, pretty self-explanatory. Then there's the markings for two different aircrafts in the U.S. markings, but I won't be using those. I will, however, take a look at the decals from the kit. These are they. They look like nice decals. I've never used them before, so can't really tell you how they'll work out, especially since I'm not using them. I will be using the cockpit decals, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But that's decal sheet, nice decal sheet, and dated 1995. So I'm thinking this kit may be at least that old, but just in a newer box. So normally when I do a kit, I don't really go through each individual sprue in much detail, but since this is my first Hasegawa kit, I am going to do that just to kind of get a feel for what the parts look like. So let's start with sprue A, which is the fuselage. From what I've read, this is a good kit. It should go together well, and everything should fit good. And the detail on it is really nice. The got a little scuff right there. I'll have to kind of buff out, but it's got recessed panel lines, which is good. Makes it a lot easier to weather and repair any damage when joining the two halves. So that looks really good. Sprue C, the upper wing, again, really nice detail. Good recessed detail and raised detail, like this little panel here is raised. That looks good. Again, there's a little bit of scuffing on the. It came in a plastic bag, but not each one. But it's real common when they're bagged like that, and it's no big deal. Just polish that out just a little bit. I could even prime it, and then buff it up a little bit. It may not even need that much work, but it's par for the course. But yeah, that looks really good. It has a little bit of detail where the landing gear bays are. The lower drop tank, oh man, that's wonderful. I like it whenever they do the drop tanks like this. There's a natural seam line on the drop tank, and that is where it glues together. So that will make cleaning that up and getting that prepped for paint a lot easier. These are the mounting points for the drop tank. Looks like it even has the fuel lines for it. The lower wing, again, really nice. It's got some nice ribbing on the flaps and the ailerons. Nice detail on the inside of the landing gear bays there. Just have to be careful when I paint it since it's so recessed. I want to make sure I don't get it all powdery looking in there. I like this. This is attached, but it's like open all along the lower edge there. That's really cool. I don't know how they molded that, but that is pretty awesome. So that's sprue D. Sprue E. Cockpit parts, the engine parts. And even though it's kind of a simplified engine, as far as the back with the firewall and everything, the detail is like really fine on this thing. As you can see around the outside edges there. There's a little tiny bit of flash, and this is really the only sprue I've seen that has any flash on it, and it's not much. There's a little bit on the blade tip there of the propeller, a little tiny bit in there, but other than that, it looks really good, and it looks like the parts are molded really good. Sometimes whenever you get like round things, like say this landing gear here, you'll end up with a kind of a weird, if the mold hasn't gone together properly, you'll end up with a part that looks like that. Now that's kind of, well, not over exaggerated for some companies, but if it's a little bit off like that and you try and clean it up, then you end up with more of an oval than round, and that does not seem to be evident on here at all. So that's really, really good. So looks like these molds have really been taken care of, and the seam lines are very, very faint, so it should be really easy to clean up. So that's really cool. Digging that. Then we have two F sprues, which are the horizontal stabilizer parts, upper and lower. The wheels, which are molded in one piece, so that's nice. Don't have to worry about a seam. There is a faint mold line there, but that should be easy to clean up. These smaller parts, again, these round parts here, they aren't crooked. they're round in cross section, which is great. I'm not sure if that's the exhaust or not, but if it is, that's cool because the way it's made, it'll be easy to drill those out if that is truly what they are. So that'll be easy to do. And there's one teeny tiny little part. Whew. That's going to be fun. But yep, that's the F-Sprues, 2 of them. Then there's the cowling, which is Sprue B, but it came off. Fortunately, it didn't damage the plastic, so that'll be easy to clean up. Again, nice detail, rivets, panel lines, all that kind of stuff. The fact that it's like one piece doesn't mean there's anything going to be out of alignment, which will make it easy to paint and easy to weather. But looks really good. And then we have the clear part sprue. And it looks like most of these sprues say 148 F6F-3/5, so it's for either version. But the windscreen on this one is specific to the -3, as is this, I guess it's a piece of armored glass, maybe? I'll find out whenever I do the actual build. And then these other little things here, I'll talk about those later on. It's one of the things that I read about that, thank goodness, I'm not going to have to deal with. And then we have some polycaps. For what, I am not sure. All right, and then finally, these are the decals that were sent to me by Ezra Talavera, one of the members at Kit Maker Network Aeroscale forum. And I posted on there that I was looking for decals. Where could I find some? And he said, I have some and you can have them if you want. So I was very stoked about that. And I said, yeah, I'll take them. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. So I will, I'll probably use this right here to test and make sure that the decals are indeed sound and won't come apart in water. But this is from an Otaki kit, and has the roundels, the stripes, tail markings, and the call letters. So worst case scenario, if for some reason these things were like too fragile to work, which I don't think they are because they look like really nice, good decals, but if it looks like they're iffy, at least I can get some measurements, and they're fairly simple, so I should be able to mask off and paint. But I think they'll be okay, but I'll try them out first. But again, big thanks to Ezra, and he's the reason I'm going to be doing a build log on the Kit Maker Network of this kit. So I'm going to be doing that in conjunction with my video, and I will see how that works out. I haven't done a build log on a form in quite a while, so it should be interesting. But anyway, thanks a lot, Ezra. So that's it. That's the Hasegawa F6F-3 Hellcat to be built in Fleet Air Arm Mark I, Hellcat Mark I markings and camouflage. So I hope this has been a entertaining and informative video and a good introduction to this kit. Hope you'll follow along. And if you decide you want to follow along, if you haven't subscribed, you might want to do that and hit the notifications maybe. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and I'd appreciate it. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching Plastic Models by a Regular Dude, and I will see you all later.